Hello and welcome to Crossout, bringing games that you missed to the spotlight. This time we're going to the Caribbean to play Tropico. Tropico is an island management simulator similar to SimCity, only it has a lot of political implements in it, and by that you're gonna try and win elections and stuff. When you start a quick game, you can select a lot of information about the island, its size, your victory goals, and special circumstances, like almost always having to have elections. But then you get to the main point, which is creating your character. You can select its background, like a miner or farmer, the way it rose to power, so it can be a rebellion or an election. Two qualities, like charismatic, hardworking, and two flaws, which will all eventually change the way the game goes, because it will change how the factions think of you, and will add minor twists to the game. So you should pick them carefully. Now you start the island with a lot of shacks, a couple of farms to live off, and docks, which are the main income way of your island, because most of the money you'll be making is from export. So of course you should sometimes check out if your farms can grow something for better export. And you don't have to go through the farms and select from the menu. You can go to the view mode and see if there are good areas for certain crops. You should change the shacks into good housing as soon as possible, because shacks are considered ugly by the people living on the island. And also they don't pay rent, which means missing on quite a lot of money eventually. You can build only if you have workers at the construction offices, and the buildings are in range of the construction offices, because workers are too lazy to work long distances. But you never know what the range actually is, so you have to guess it. Every year you're gonna get an almanac with information about citizens and income and export rates. You can check lists of factions and who supports them, or the local origin of your people. And you can also check how your score for the game is going. You can play an unscored game, which will be also endless, which will end only when you lose an election or get a military coup against you. There are a few factions on the island which you need to satisfy. Some care more about the freedom of the people, or some others care about the religious aspects. And the military faction, if they're not happy, can just launch a coup against you. So you should take care that there's medical treatment for the people, that the police is monitoring the cities to make sure there are no high crime rates. To give more freedom to people, you can have a news office or a radio station, maybe even a TV station if you build a power plant to produce power for the people. Now, certain buildings require higher class people to operate them, so you might need college graduates or maybe just high school graduates. You can ask for them from abroad and pay a hefty fee, or build a high school and college on your island and educate your own people to do these works. You can order a lot of commands, such as personal effects, such as global effects. Some work with the superpowers, which are the USA and the USSR, and it might make them love you more, so you get more support from them financially. And eventually you might even be able to install a military base of theirs on your island. People won't like it, and you'll be on a constant threat of them destroying you, but they'll pay you quite well. Some buildings have upgrades available for them, so for a ranch it can be a smokehouse to make smoked beef, which costs more on the export. And for the lumber camp, it can be a tool shack, which provides them with more tools, and they cut trees much faster. Sometimes, if your island is good enough, people with high education will just come by themselves. Every 4 to 10 years, you'll have elections, which you can accept or deny, and if you deny them, people will get really upset. You can see your chances on this graph to the right. The green bars are people supporting you. The red bars are people supporting the opposition. The further they are to the right, the more they support you or the opposition. The further they are from the edge, the closer they are to the center, the easier it is to sway their opinion. So you should check out those people and maybe sway them to your side. If you select a person, you can see their education level, where they work, where they live, their recent thoughts, who they support if there are elections coming up, what they like, what they dislike about the island. The game actually has a lot of attention to details, so even if you select a cow, there is some information it will give to you, so you can see what the cow thinks. Also, people, you can see their family, but you can't see their siblings, only parents and children and the spouse. The graphics and sound in this game are really good. The sound is really hits the spot with its style and really fitting the atmosphere. The graphics are a bit outdated nowadays, but they still look good and detailed, and there's even variety in the grass, which is watered and not watered, which for the time was actually a big deal. Now you can view the terrain for a lot of information, like how good it is for tourists, or how much rain does it get in a year on average, and other stuff. Most of ships that will come will have immigrants to your island, which will gladly start working wherever they can. Sometimes information will pop up about changing in export prices, being higher or lower, or other information like if somebody opposes you and doesn't like what you're doing. Because this is the Caribbean, the tourism is a big deal here, so you can build a tourist resort on your island and have tennis courts, swimming pools and stuff. Also, every island has its own Mayan ancient weird place which you can build a visitor center on, which will give you quite big money. And you can see how attractive the area is for tourists. So the airport is downgrading it, so I should move the buildings away from it to a more attractive zone, so people will enjoy visiting it more. Now, low-class tourists will enjoy even walking through your city if it's not too bad and too dirty, but high-class will really enjoy only the higher-end hotels and resorts. Would hate everything else, actually. The game is really fun, and there's a lot of things to do there. There's a lot of ways to play the game. There's plenty of room for experimenting, and eventually, if you manage badly, you get a rebellion against you or a coup against you, and then supporters will fight for you, opposers fight against you. Some people will be neutral and just run away, and it will remain like that for as long as it takes until one of the sides is dead. So you really should give this game a try. It's really good.